So hi guys, welcome to another furry video, and today I'm gonna be giving you some tips and advice on how to fit into the furry fandom. Anyways, let's begin. So for tip number one, if you're fursuiting, and even if you're not, if you're literally in any kind of situation, this is important in any kind of life situation, but mostly when you're fursuiting, remember to stay hydrated, because when fursuiting, the it's the fursuits are made of multiple layers of specific fur and foam, which makes it super thick and yeah, it makes it super thick, and then it just ends up feeling like you're wearing a couch, literally wearing a couch for your head. I've heard multiple people say this, but that's just how it is. It literally feels like that. And it's important to remember to hydrate, because when you're wearing such a foam monstrosity on your head, you're also gonna be sweating out much more. So you will be also losing even more water from your body. And I've heard of so many cases when fursuiters have overestimated themselves and thought that they can go multiple hours without drinking at all, and they've ended up in the hospital because of dehydration. And the one thing you know about fursuits and hospitals, they care about your about your wellness, about the fact that you're all okay and alive. They don't care about your $2,000 fursuit. So they'll do anything necessary to save your life, which in most cases also means literally cutting open your fursuit, no matter of how expensive it is. So unless you want to risk with your own and your fursuit's life, I don't really recommend going anywhere, fursuiting anywhere without without a water bottle. And I actually recommend taking not those like 0.5 liter bottles. I recommend taking like at least a liter with you. And going to spots where there are those free water refill spots, so that if you run out, you don't have to immediately run home to get more water. For the next tip, make a fursona. This is actually the first thing you probably should do when you're joining the fandom, because this is how other furries are gonna recognize you most of the time. Right off the bat, what you should know about fursonas is that they're an animal representation of yourself, and they can have any kinds of physical features or personality traits or whatever the hell else. Um, as long as you feel the connection between you and the fursona, as long as you can like look at it and tell that, oh yeah, that's me, that represents me. For example, I made my fursona is a wolf, a red and black wolf with horns, and I honestly made a video talking about how I came up with my fursona, and for those curious of how I actually did, I'm gonna leave it in the description box down below, so that you can go check it out after this video, if you have time and if you're willing to actually find out more about myself. So always remember that a persona is something that you'll actually need if you're joining the fandom. For the next tip, you don't need a fursuit to fit into the fandom. Some people always think of fursuits and fursuiting when they hear something about furries. Because at least 90% of the furries that you see on the internet are fursuiters. I'd say actually more than 90%. But I did some research, and I found out that only about 10 to 15% of the people in the furry fandom actually own a fursuit. The rest of them just exist in the fandom but don't have a fursuit on them. And right now, I'm honestly one of them. But so yeah, you like if you are willing to get a fursuit and you have the money to get one or the time to make one, then sure, go on. No one's stopping you. But just don't feel like you're obligated to get one to fit in, because you're not. Next up, if you are purchasing a fursuit, you don't always have to commission a well-known and established fursuit maker. If you're starting and might make changes to your persona and your character down the road, you don't have to always commission such big fursuit makers as Don't Hug Cacti or something like that. You can also like look for smaller creators who are just getting started on their fursuit making journey or are looking to practice their skills, because they might actually sell their fursuits for a smaller price, since they are just practicing. Like, I mean, yes, they might be smaller, they might have quality that is not as good as like Don't Have Cacti would have, but as I said, cheaper fursuits are a great idea for times when you know that you'll be changing stuff with your character and your persona later on. But if you know for a fact that it's permanent, then well, it's up to you, honestly. Next tip: mind your surroundings when you are fursuiting. Because not only when you're wearing a fursuit you have a big black line in the middle of your eyesight separating your eyes, but also most of the fursuits, if not all of them, have eyes that you can't see through. So do you like seeing? You like hearing? Forget about it if you're fursuiting, because yeah, that's not happening. Fursuits are pretty like muffling. They like for example, if you try to speak in a fursuit, your voice is gonna be kind of more muffled up than it is when you're speaking without a fursuit. The same goes with your movements and your eyesight. Back to the eyesight. So not only there's just a big black line in the middle of your eyesight, but the eyes are also most of the time not see-through. So you're gonna definitely need a handler aka a person who guides you through your surroundings so that you don't run into like 20,000 light poles on the way to your convention. Um, or if you're like experienced enough with this stuff, you can also, I guess, like modify your fursuit, like modify those eyes so that you can actually see something. I'm actually planning to do that when I get my fursuit, but I don't know if I'm experienced enough to do it. We'll see. But that's off the topic. Next up, join furry social media. As furries are a mostly internet-based community, they are also super well-rounded in social media, which is why I really recommend joining some social media with furries. My best recommendations are Twitter, because I've heard that there are like very many furries on there, and such furry specific social media as Bark and Furry Amino. Anyway, so one of the biggest reasons why joining that social media is a great idea is because not only you can communicate with other furries without going to any conventions or anything, but also you can see when some furry meetups are planned and what's new in the fandom, because furries sometimes yap about stuff like that on furry social media. And honestly, I would recommend that furry specific social media over Twitter, because on those furry social medias like Furry Amino, there most likely won't be any furry haters trying to sabotage your furry group or something like that. But Twitter is still a great option. Next up, I would actually recommend being respectful to fursuiters. And that's not just a recommendation, because always remember to take in the considerations that there's still a person underneath these fursuits, and they all have their own comfort zones and boundaries and stuff. So always remember that if you are like at a convention and you see a fursuiter that you really adore, and you, I don't know, want to give him a hug or something, ask him before you do anything, if you don't want any unnecessary conflicts with him. Anyways, off to the next tip. Don't steal art. We all know that it might be tempting at some point to just take a picture of Google and modify or not modify it for a little bit, and then tell that it's all you, like take all the credit about that image. But it's still considered kind of copyright if you don't ask the creator of that image for permission. Not only because it's inappropriate and stuff, but also because the creator of that image or that art piece might have some deep personal meaning behind that art piece. So if you're just taking it and taking all the credit about it, it's just the one of the most disrespectful things you could do. Like, I can't even think of a more disrespectful thing that you could do in the furry fandom than that at the moment. So, if that creator actually gives you permission to use his art in some way, don't take the full credit, and remember to in some way credit them when you're publishing that art or something. And well, last but not least, don't take the fandom too seriously. Like, I know that this fandom is really important to some people, myself included, because it's fun, and this is honestly one of the friendliest communities in the world, if not the friendliest. But remember that this fandom is still just a hobby, and the hobbies are a thing to enjoy. So as I already said, I know that this fandom is like super important to some people, but at the end of the day, we're all here just to have fun. So thanks for watching today's video, and leave a like and subscribe if you actually found at least some of these tips useful. And if you have any tips that I didn't cover in this video, feel free to leave them down in the comment section. And see you, my fluffy friends, in the next video.